Welcome, everybody. It is Hollywood Edwards and the Electric City Saint, and we are here to talk the May 17th, 2019 episode of Impact Wrestling. Saint, what's up, buddy?
What's up, my man? I mean, dude, 2 weeks in a row. I'm surprised. I'm really surprised that would get into this as much as I did, and I think you basically have the same sentiment regarding that because going into this last week, I had very low expectations, and here I am back for week two, and not to give a general statement here, but another solid week of this stuff.
Yeah, another good show, I would have to say, overall. Do you want to just jump right in?
Yeah, whenever you're ready, bro.
All right, sir. Show starts with a 10 knockouts battle royal. And Saint, we had some people in here we knew, and we had some ladies in here that we didn't know. First, I want to ask you, when you're looking at hot chicks, I mean, because you have some knowledge in this area, you know, with all the pornography and whatnot. What do you generally look for? I mean, are you looking at, like, are you a Scarlett Bordeaux guy? Are you a Tessa Blanchard guy? Or, I don't know, maybe you would surprise us and say you're a Kira Hogan guy. Can you address that for us, Saint?
Dude, there's a lot of those girls in that match were very attractive, and a lot of them were very good wrestlers as well, which I think, you know, at the end of the day, wrestling, that's more important, but this might surprise you, but this might surprise you, but I really could dig Tessa Blanchard and Scarlett Bordeaux. They're both very attractive, and this might surprise you, but I'm very much into Asian women.
Oh, Mr. Nakamura gets you as client, ah? You'll visit Orchids of Asia anytime, Electric City Scene. Interesting. Good to know. Good to know for the future. Why I bring that up to you, Saint, is because the Disco Inferno came out after everyone was introduced. This is interesting, and I don't know if you know this, but Glenn Gilberti does a show.
I have an idea of what you're going with this, but go ahead.
Does a show with Vince Russo. Does a show. He does Keeping It 100 with Conan. He's on there. He's no stranger to Twitter, tweeting out how he feels about the oversaturation of women's wrestling. So Impact decided to put this on TV, and that is his character. Now, before you started watching, he did wrestle Scarlett one-on-one, and he did he put her over. So talk to me about, just really quickly, your thoughts on... Now, he, of course, is doing it, you know, bra and panties matches. Men are generally watching wrestling, obviously, Attitude Era type numbers. That's his whole argument when it comes to women's wrestling. Where do you land on that?
Well, I'll say this. I think right off the bat, whether you agree with him or not, I think it's cool that they're actually implementing this into a storyline, bro. And they're kind of using it. I mean, I guess in a way it is sort of a work shoot, because if they're basing it off like the interviews he's had with Russo and all those guys. So, I mean, it's cool in that regard. And I'm not a big fan of the intergender wrestling, I'll say that much, but I kind of like the way that they utilized him tonight in that regard. And I think it was, you know, it's funny how they're, you know, playing him off as like this misogynistic, like living in the past view of women type of thing. And I thought it was funny, like right off the bat, he's cutting the promo, and then all the women gang up on him and jump him, and he kind of goes running and then heads on commentary. I mean, it was very cool how they utilized him tonight.
Yeah.
Actually,
yeah, it's pretty cool that is his real opinion, but he's putting the girls over as he's doing it. I think it's really interesting, and I think even Glenn Gilberti haters have to shout him out for that, because you're right. He hopped into the ring, and he was surrounded by the women, and they beat him down, and he hightailed it out of there and straight to the commentary table. So it's pretty cool what they're doing there.
Yeah, I thought too that I actually did see the match, And I saw like the training montage building up to it with like her eating the banana and all that
Oh yeah,
stuff.
of course you saw
And
that. After,
but seriously, like he did a very good job in that match again, her over because
yeah,
I believe that was her debut, right?
yes, yep, that was the big debut, the first match. Yep.
Yeah, and kudos to him. Whether you're like you said, whether you agree with him or not, he did a great job of making her look really good in that match. I thought.
Cool. So he, of course, on commentary throughout the match, he's playing the misogynistic jackass. So, and of course, Josh Matthews and Don Callis are giving him heat for it throughout the match. But about the match itself, saying a couple of things here. I like the fact that there were some jobbers in this match. We didn't know who they were, yet the booking gave them spots during the
Right,
match.
of
And
course.
it for a battle royal, I mean, it was okay. I'm not a huge fan of battle royals. I think I've said that before, but it was okay. I mean, it wasn't as boring as like watching the Royal Rumble for an hour. It They kept it moving, So I thought that was a pretty decent match for what it was.
Yeah, I had no problems with it at all, and I thought it, like you said, it was cool that they, utilized their core women's roster. I mean, they had Kira Hogan in there, Jordan Grace was there, Tessa Blanchard, all of them, and like you said, they also had more of those kind of. I wouldn't even say they're jobbers; they're just more indie-based wrestlers. Solo Darling, I think, does a lot of mixed gender matches. I think
Jobbers,
she may.
be real.
I think she may or I think she may or may not have been in the Mae Young Classic, one of these girls. So, I mean, in a way, I thought it was kind of cool to see, lesser named wrestlers in it, like you said, combined with, their bigger named core.
Yeah. One specific I had here, Madison Rain, I thought looked great in this, and during the match, Taya did a run in on Madison and got her disqualified. We'll get to that earlier or later in the show because story threads. It's weird to watch a wrestling show in 2019 that actually has story threaded throughout the show. Wouldn't you agree? I think it's so funny and refreshing that we have to point that out when reviewing Impact because anything else we review from WWE does not do this.
Yeah, they don't do it at all, bro. I mean, this is such like it really is like that breath of fresh air, like I said last week, because there are, like you said, story threads and there's continuity of what's going on from the previous week. I mean, right off the bat, too, what you forgot to mention that I love that they had that 2 minute recap video of like, all the important matches and segments that happened last week. Again,
Mm-hmm.
they're doing a very good job of keeping you filled in, like if you miss a week or if this is your first time tuning into it, which is good because WWE does their little recap videos at the start of a show. They might just cover one or two big segments and that's it. And from what I saw from the 2 minutes, they pretty much covered every single segment and match besides maybe one or two segments
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
did last week.
Yeah, pretty much the whole show. I also forgot to mention that this is the first show from the tapings in Philadelphia at the ECW Arena, which is now known as the 2300 Arena. Saint, did I ever mention that I was there?
Hmm. That might have been something that happened last week, but I don't remember now, bro.
Hmm. All right. So, well, if I didn't mention it, I was there. Met AC, the General was there. Some good times. Yeah. Disco Inferno. Everybody thinks Tessa wins this match, but no, no, no. Disco was actually a participant, slides back into the ring, and quickly disposes of Tessa Blanchard. And of course, she's pissed. So he hightailed it out of there, and Tessa was not happy. Disco Inferno, Glenn Goberti, wins the 10 Knockouts Battle Royal.
Yeah, it's funny because in a way, like I said, I'm not a big fan of intergender wrestling all that much, but like I said, again, the way that they utilize him tonight is funny, and now it will lead towards, her getting her comeuppance at some point, I would imagine, which I guess, already I'm kind of looking forward to seeing that match. believe it or not. I mean, if it's up there with her, if it's up there with him versus Scarlett Bordeaux, I mean, dude, that could be actually a solid matchup.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. Again, storytelling. For as stupid as some people may think this is, or annoying seeing Glenn Gilberti in 2019 on a wrestling show, you have to give it to them. They're telling a story here. He slides in, the misogynist jerk steals the victory. It's hysterical.
Dude, I thought what was even funnier about it too is he really blasted her from behind.
He did.
He did. That looked kind of. It looked a little stiff, honestly.
Good open to the show. From there, we cut backstage, and Michael Elgin is in the parking garage with Willie Mack, giving him some lip, and from what happened last week with the two of them, and he ends up, little brawl breaks out, and he ends up powerbombing Willie Mack into a U-Haul. And I thought that this was a good spot for Mike because he needs to be built up. And obviously they're doing, tonight was build Elgin up as a badass heel night.
Yeah, it certainly came across that way because they utilized him, not only in that segment to make him look like a total badass, but then, of course, the match later on. And I believe he actually was in another segment, wasn't he?
Yes, as a matter of fact, it's the next segment. Dave Bowman Menendez, investigative reporter, interviews Elgin in the back. I believe there was probably a break in between these two.
Yeah, I think they went to a commercial there. I mean, we're watching it on Twitch, but
right.
I'm pretty sure that was like the commercial spot.
Right. Okay. He's basically running his mouth and about what happened with Willie Mack again here, and Rich Swann interrupts, and he says, "Hey, I heard you just say Willie Mack. Willie Mack came out of your mouth. He's obviously not here right now because he's on his way to the hospital, so how about me? Let's do this." They start brawling. Of course, Rich Swann and Willie Mack are good friends. Now, again, I have to point this out because of storytelling, Saint. They are buddies. They show us on TV that these guys are buddies. Why wouldn't Rich Swann do this? We have to point it out because it makes logical sense to set up a main event match between Willie Mack's friend and Elgin based on the fact that Elgin just took out Rich Swann's buddy. It's simple, it's logical, and it happened. Kudos to Impact.
Yeah, bro. I mean, it's funny because it's not really rocket science. It's like it's a simple storytelling element that they used very well tonight, and I just don't know why, like with WWE, they just can't pinpoint these storylines into, logical sense. They just can't do it, and it drives me bananas, bro.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I want to say real quick, too, it's almost two segments in a row where we kind of got that worked shoot, in my opinion, because Elgin mentioned that, he's sick of waiting in line in Japan. He's tired of being, being told, you got to wait for your shot. And he goes, if you want something, you got to take it yourself. And I mean, bro, I think that right there even is a shoot as well, because I think he was very frustrated with his time in New Japan. They just weren't really doing a whole lot with him. And now in Impact, I think he has a bigger chance to shine. I think the way he was presented tonight, they really had him come across like he's going to be a major player there, which they never really did in New Japan.
Yep, and more to come with that, for sure. The second match of the night, Demon Collar match. This is the one that we were looking forward to. Rosemary defeats Su Yung in what was basically a dog collar match. They were attached by the jugular with a chain. Great pop for Rosemary when she came out, dude. I was surprised. I know it's a Philly crowd, and a Philly crowd is basically like you and I would fit into a Philly crowd. So they gave Rosemary a lot of love. I was actually surprised.
Yeah, I was one of the first things I noticed, and I'm like, wow, this is I think one of my first few times actually seeing her wrestle before, and dude, she is definitely over. I mean, I would say like her and Tessa Blanchard are like the A1 and A2 right now in that company, and then maybe Madison Rayne is like up there.
Hmm.
Like those three are like are like definitely their top level premier women's division wrestlers. I mean, bro, really incredible stuff from her. I absolutely really enjoyed it, and even I will get into the match as we go on, but I love the beginning of it, the actual entrances. It really adds to their character and overall like perspective. Where they actually book them from. They had Sue Young. They said she's from Off the Grid,
Hmm.
and then they said, Rosemary's from the Valley of Shadows. I'm thinking, dude, this is, dude, it's honestly, it's very cool. I mean, I know I'm kind of marking out over it a little bit, but I kind of can get that quirkier, like dark,
Yeah.
like feel to it, as opposed to this, having them be from like, Paducah, Kentucky, or wherever the hell,
Right.
like
Yeah, sure,
it,
of
it
course.
it really adds more to their mystique, I guess. It's even like how Sting used to be. I mean, he was from. I think sometimes they would book him from Another Man's Nightmare or something like that.
Yep.
And like that, I always like that. Always resonated with me because I thought that made him seem so cool and like otherworldly. And both of these two definitely scream that. I mean, dude, even Rosemary's entrance is so friggin' awesome. It reminded me like the whole black metal thing, like with the hooded robe and all that, and the slow walk and the face paint. And I love all of it, dude.
Awesome.
I want to see more of these two because there was some really friggin' awesome stuff in this.
Match started with a mist off, this was great because I think maybe they tugged each other. They were doing the tug of war
Right.
with the chain. It didn't last very long before they just both turned their heads and spit their respective mists. And from that point, Josh Matthews then puts over a show they're doing. Dude, this was perfect. Great production work here. Great writing. He immediately says, "Oh, the mist, da 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 da," and he says, June 6th, I believe, or June 7th or 8th, whatever night that weekend falls on. They're doing a show with the Great Muta in Philly, and they're calling it a show you can't miss. MIST. Dude,
Yeah,
that whole
dude.
section, I mean, it was only like a minute or two where all of that happened, but I just kind of threw my hands up and I went, "Oh my god, it's just great. Great way to do it."
Right, and it wasn't like really like that obvious of a cheap plug. He really did. They utilize that into a good way to segue into
Mhm.
promoting it. I actually really I noticed that too, and I really like that they did that.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool.
Now I have a question for you before we keep going with the match.
Go ahead.
Now this show that they're doing with Muda, is this going to be televised or is this just like a live thing they're doing? Because dude, I would love to see Muda again and in an Impact ring on TV, dude.
Well, yeah, later on they plugged it again and then they mentioned Impact Plus. I really need to find this out because if they're going live on that on Impact Plus, because it wasn't taped as far as I know, like so far. So if that's going to be the advantage of Impact Plus, and I don't know if you can just turn on Impact Plus and it'll be there, or you have to pay additional through Impact Plus, but it definitely sounded like it will be aired that night.
Cool.
So we'll have to look into that, and we'll revisit that next week. We don't want to spread fake news, pal. That's for sure. The hanging spot, dude.
Oh, dude, that was freaking cool as hell.
Loved the hanging spot. Sue Young is outside the ring. Rosemary runs over to the corner and goes to the other side and down to the floor and starts pulling her up. Of course, you saw Sue shimmy up on the ring apron, but of course she had to because it's a work,
Well, too.
But you suspend your disbelief.
Right.
Very cool spot, and I think she sold it great.
Right, and credit to the cameramen because I think they shot that at an angle that it did, to me, it actually really did look legit.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know obviously she's not gonna be like friggin' hanging her, but I mean, good lord, the way that they shot it, it looked so damn good. So
Yeah. Yep.
kudos to whoever the hell they have running the camera there, because like again, even like last week with that spot with Madman Fulton, uh, behind the ladder, very good camera work by them, and I don't really see that a whole lot with WWE. It's so funny, these like little things that really add
Yeah.
up and like make the whole entire presentation like that much more intriguing and enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, I have to bring something else up that reminds me because I didn't. Yeah, I got it. Okay.
I heard the pen click or the
Yes.
pen yeah, the pen click there. We're taking notes tonight.
I had to draw an arrow there to bring it up in like 2 minutes. The other move I wanted to talk about, I've never seen this before. It's only my second time seeing a Su Yung match. Matthews called it a pedigree. I'll call it a draping pedigree. Very similar to Orton with Rosemary's toes were on the second rope, but instead of a DDT, she just dropped down with Rosemary's head between her legs, like a pedigree.
Right. Yeah, that
Dude,
really
I've never
cool.
seen that, and it looked devastating. Very cool move.
Yeah, it really did.
Very cool.
I like to on the commentary, Cyrus. What is his actual like name they're using for TNA?
What do you mean?
Like, what is his like the commentator's name? I know him as Cyrus because he was in ECW, but I can't think of what his name is.
Talking about Callis?
Oh yeah, Don Callis. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
I had like a brain fart there, dude.
Well, no, you
really
said
like
TNA. You said TNA, and I got confused because now I've learned
Right.
that it's Impact. So when you said TNA, I was thinking back in the past.
Dude,
Go ahead.
I gotta get used to that.
Oh, you will.
seriously
Yeah.
do, 'cause
I screwed it
Yeah,
up for what, 4 weeks, I think. So
dude, like I really like how he sold it on commentary where he goes, and this even ties into what you just said. He thinks that the person that's the most creative with the chain will win the match. And
yes,
dude, I thought that was it really added towards the story, and it made sense with like what they were doing, because as they went on, they really were doing more innovative, different things with the chain, and it was really cool the way they did that, honestly.
Yep, very cool. So
I have to ask you something here, because you obviously have been watching this longer, and I'm sure you could fill me in on this. The bloodstained glove. Tell me the backstory on that, because I thought it was cool, but obviously this is only the second week I've watched it, so I have no clue like what the significance of that is or anything.
Well, she uses the mandible claw. So
okay, right, yeah, I noticed that.
It's basically a take on Mr. Socko, except it's a nameless, disgusting glove. I tuned in when I first saw this. Callis just described it like he did tonight, the disgusting, blood-soaked, imagine what's on it glove. I don't know where the origin of the glove comes from, but apparently she's never washed it. So I don't know if that's all the backstory that it is, or if there's more to it, but that's the use of it. It's basically like Mr. Socko, but really twisted on cocaine.
No, I mean, dude, I really, right off the bat, even like something small like that, there's, maybe we don't know the whole entire backstory, but there's backstory towards that, and it's something that makes her like unique, having like, an item like that.
You know what's hysterical about it too, and I'm sure she does it on purpose, but she pulled that out. I didn't notice it until tonight. That glove is basically not a glove anymore. Like, you can see pretty much 4 out of her 5 fingers sticking through the glove. Like, there's nothing left to it. Yeah. It's just it's hysterical.
Yeah, that thing. Like, I noticed that definitely seemed like it was practically like destroyed at this point.
Fantastic. Match ends, of course. Rosemary goes over. So it doesn't end there. She hooks
No, it
Sue
doesn't.
back up.
This part I loved.
When she pulled her out of the ring, dude, she legit was choking her, because when she put her up on her back, I don't know if she didn't realize she wasn't ready for it, But it wasn't until she started choking her and started walking her up the ramp, that's when Su Yung grabbed it and tried to pull it away from her throat. So she was legit choking her, dude. And when she got up to the ramp, and I got to give kudos to Su Yung for this, she sold it perfectly. She was taking her hands off it. So it almost looked like she was going to take a legitimate shoot choke for a couple seconds here and there as they're going up the ramp. I was like, yo, you're crazy. Stop doing that. Just, we get it. Don't kill yourself. It's insane, dude.
Yeah, there's really like the last 2 weeks, there's been some really insane stuff where like they're almost like not even protecting themselves, but they're so committed towards their character and delivering such a great performance that they're willing to make that big sacrifice. I mean, dude, like you said, there's a lot of times during that where she sold it like she totally was limp, but like you said, there, if she didn't like put up any, like if she didn't put up any effort at all, she could have like really got like killed there or something. I don't even know what, bro.
Yeah, I know, absolutely.
Like seriously, that part honestly like really made it, dude. Like the way she like just dragged like the carcass out of the ring, like like by the throat, like dude, like. It reminded me of like that hunter that just bagged himself like a big like horned buck, and it's like I just loved it because it like, you know, you and me have lately been playing Red Dead a lot, and it just reminded me of like something like that, like having the lasso around the neck of the chicken and just pull it the whole way. Oh my god, awesome. Bro!
Yeah, it's commitment, man. That's commitment to your character. Seriously.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. That. I don't know how else to say it. That was probably one of my favorite moments within the last 2 weeks of us getting back into Impact. I know you've been into it a little longer, but I mean, dude, that was this top level stuff. I just absolutely loved it. That couldn't have gone any other perfectly. I mean, everything about it, the way that match went, all the different little spots and the way they utilized the chain. I mean, it was just brilliant.
Yeah, very good stuff. Madison Rayne in the back with Melissa Santos is next, and she's talking about Taya. This is news to me, and again, I haven't been watching Impact that much longer than you, but apparently they have 30 days to defend their titles. Madison brought that up, and she said, so next week, it's on. Sets up the title match for next week, Taya Valkyrie versus Madison Rayne.
Yeah, I like the backstage little interview with her there. Madison Rayne, like, I know I say it a lot, but seriously, top to bottom, like, if you look at every aspect of the game, she's just so good at it, whether it's the in-ring or the microphone. Thought she did a very good job with that little interview, and she even hit us with the Melvin Dassey line tonight. She knows her game.
Yes. I know your game, Taya Valkyrie, Joe White. Shout out to White right now, who's in a Pennsylvania McDonald's parking lot, probably sleeping. So shout out to White. Next match, there is a jobber in the ring. I can't remember his name. Sean White, something like that.
Randy Sean, I think it was.
Okay, I was close. I just said White.
Yeah.
Versus Madman Fulton. My guy. This was I wanted to bring this up. Obviously, it was very cool. Fulton is in the ring. Bell rings. He's standing there, and he's not even looking at Randy White, Sean White, whatever. He's looking at Sami Callihan outside. And Sammy's just shaking his head no as Randy White is punching him 3 times, and then finally Sammy shakes his head yes, and Fulton goes crazy.
Yeah, he
characters.
He hit us with the Dave Batista with the thumbs up, thumbs down. Dude, I thought that was so cool. Yep. And then that like flipped the switch, and the monsters unleashed. I mean, dude, like you said, more character within like this little mannerism like that than practically anything WWE does with like a 100-man roster.
Yep, I love what they do here. I love what they do.
Yes. Yeah, I do too.
This was the production note I wanted to bring up that you reminded me to say. The 3 choke slams he did. Okay. Jobber is laying on the ground, and we've seen this countless times in wrestling. Big guy reaches down, grabs him by the throat, picks him up in one motion, and choke slams him. Did you notice, Saint, that the camera shot each time was only there until he grabbed him by the throat and started pulling him up? During the pull-up, the camera switched, and in that split second, the jobber is already up in the air. Do you know what that is, dude? That's good production because you don't see the other guy crawling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's good
dude.
production.
Yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing is, you had more of an observant eye than I did. I totally didn't even notice that because of how quick it was, I guess.
Yeah, it was a quick, just
like
a quick camera
like,
switch. Yep.
Right. Yeah. It was so fluid that split second of lifting him up, you didn't see it, and it makes him look that much better.
Yeah.
That he didn't have any help or whatever to do that move.
Awesome. But the rest of the match, basically a squash match, but they showed you just who Madman Fulton is. He does not go crazy until he's told. And when he does, you cannot stop him. Only Sami Callihan can stop him. I think what they're doing with this guy is great. So if Sami ever unleashes him and then something happens to Sami, he's probably not going to stop.
Ooh, you see, now that's something that you bring up that I would love to see actually happen at some point, and see how they actually would address that and how that would all go down. That would be very cool to see, honestly. Yeah, we're definitely in agreement with this. No, definitely, no matter what way you look at it. I love how he has control over him, and he's dragging him by the hair and all this, and it's very good stuff. There's not one bad thing I could say about it. Hell, even the finisher this guy did, dude. That was very awesome looking. I don't know if it's the same move that James Storm used to do. He used to have a move called the 8-second ride or the 6-second ride. I forget what it was, but it reminded me very much of that.
It's kind of like what does Baron Corbin use?
The end of days, right? Kind of reminded me a little of that.
Kind of similar to that. Yeah, Fulton. Fulton's awesome. Love Fulton.
Dude, I don't know how the hell they missed the boat on him in WWE. What the hell happened there?
Yeah, I don't know. I do not understand it.
I don't understand it at all. They totally missed it there with him, because this guy, he has the look to him.
Mm-hmm.
Very big presence. He actually looks like a pro wrestler. Very, very talented from what I've seen within the last 2 weeks. And I don't know, bro. I don't know. Same thing with Tessa Blanchard.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know
Yep.
how they miss out on these people. They have it right there, and it's they just totally don't see it.
Madman Fulton gets the win, and now it's time to light it up because RVD's on the screen in back with Melissa Santos, and he says next week, ECW Arena, RVD versus Tommy Dreamer. You don't need a story. You don't need a reason why. They're in the ECW Arena. It's RVD versus Dreamer next week.
Yeah, dude. I mean, this is one of them cases where this is where they make it work, where you don't need any kind of story or anything. I mean, most people that have been watching, wrestling have, that are knowledgeable of ECW, know the backstory and history between them two, and it writes itself. You don't really need a big reason for them to fight.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, they're able. I think they could do this match and sell it and have people interested in it without needing that story.
Exactly. This next part Saint, I loved, but it was missing one thing for me. Okay. Menendez is on screen, and it's basically a full shot of him from chest up. Looked like he was doing a news report. And he kicked it over to a doctor who had Brian Cage news about his health condition. They went split screen, and then it went when the doctor came up. The only thing that was missing was like news music, okay, if that makes sense. I thought this was so well done, and the gimmick here was Menendez wanted it in layman's terms, and of course the doctor's going crazy with the medical terminology, but then he explained the actual injury. What did you think of this report, and can you see, like, is it good? Is Menendez good with what he's doing just alone, or do you think they should ramp it up? Like, should he be, like, even more so? Like, with the earpiece and the microphone, and he's, you know, maybe the notepad and maybe music for breaking news, and, like, I think they could do a lot more with this guy if they wanted to, but I think he's fine for what he is right now. What is your take on the investigative reporting here?
I love this. Love what they're doing with this guy. I do agree though that maybe they could push the limits and have this be more over the top and go all out with it. Like you said, I kind of like what you're like suggesting there, and hell, you could even like you said have like that news like kind of like song in the background, and then maybe even have like a little ticker at the bottom
that
has like different like news like that keeps scrolling across.
Yes, and it's like only they only use
right.
it for when he's on. That would be great. That would be great. I love it.
Yeah, now that you bring that up and say that, I want to see them go that direction. I don't know if they're going to do that though. Like I don't know how big of a I don't really know how big of like an aspect like him being there is, like, because obviously this is only my second week seeing the show, so I don't really like see how they utilize him or how much they do it. Like, is this like an every week thing that they do this or what?
He usually gets a spot from what I've seen. He usually has at least one spot on the show.
I mean, dude, like I like now that you say it, like I really do want to see them do something like that. I mean, they already have him established as like the TNA like
Impact.
Oh, Impact, dude! I keep doing it.
I'm just gonna keep correcting you. It's fine. You'll get used to it.
Yeah, they already have him established as the Impact like investigative reporter. So why not just go all out with it and have him be like the guy that is going to bring you like that breaking news and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. But a fun spot.
Yeah, I liked it.
This one I'm very interested in hearing your thoughts on because you brought up, well, you talked pretty highly of wanting to see Killer Kross. Killer Kross versus Eddie Edwards, been an ongoing thing with him and Kenny, the kendo stick that was given to Eddie Edwards by Tommy Dreamer. That's why it's so special to him. I have one negative thing to say about this, though. Actually, I thought the match was fine for what it was. Post-match, and you can take this then, I'll kick it to you. Killer Kross zip ties Edwards to the second rope, both arms. Ends up, instead of teasing the beatdown on Eddie Edwards, instead he breaks his heart by breaking the kendo stick, Kenny, over his leg. Now, at this point, Eddie Edwards, which I loved, he's screaming, "No, no, no," as he's watching this inanimate object. I thought that was pretty funny because he just kept screaming no, like it was, like a human being being killed in front of him. But, man, there was a shot of him and he's chewing the gum as he's zip-tied. And I don't know if it was just the way his hair was, the way his head was positioned on camera. He looked exactly like Dean Ambrose. He didn't look like Jon Moxley. He looks exactly like Dean Ambrose, dude. I think it's a problem because if somebody said to me, whatever you say positive about Eddie Edwards, I'm going to say he's a Dean Ambrose ripoff. And I couldn't argue it, bro. I think they need to make a change to that character. It's a little too close to Dean Ambrose for my liking. What do you think?
Yeah, I noticed that too. And the funny thing is, I don't remember, like, this is my first time seeing Edwards with like that longer kind of like middle length like hair. Because
Mm-hmm.
I always remembered him as having like that very short hair, like when he was with the Wolves and all that
Right.
stuff. Like the new look for him, like there's like you said, it reminds me too much of Ambrose. I mean, there's positives and negatives to it. Like I kind of think it's cool that he's switching things up a little bit and is like showing more of a like that hardcore side to him, as opposed to the more like technical high flying like normal tights look that he had in the past. But at the same time, like at, at some point you got to do realize like it does remind some people too much of that Ambrose character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if it was the gum, the jeans. Maybe it was just seeing everything all at the same time. Something triggered it for me, and I was like, "Oh my god, dude!" Like it's really Ambrose looking. But go ahead and tell me about Killer Cross. This is the first time you're seeing him in a match. You liked what he did last week. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I to further go with what I said last week, again, when we actually saw the entrance of Killer Cross, very, very cool. I think dig the whole entire presentation. I like that grungy screen effect that they kind of have uh, when he comes out there. Uh, Liked a lot of what I actually saw too in the ring as well. He very much, they even like kind of referenced this, that he was very akin to like Taz, and Edwards was more like reminiscent of Tommy Dreamer in the way that that match went, because Edwards got that big advantage on him. He was getting at the beginning of the match. Like they were doing that brawl, and then he took advantage and then hits the dive. But as soon as they got back in the ring, Cross absolutely friggin' buries him with this like beautiful suplex that he did. And as soon as that happens, he's taking advantage of that match, and he dominated quite a bit of that. And it's like funny because like he's got quite a bit of everything right now, and I'm a bit worried with Cross because I think and I do want to get your opinion on this too before we finish off the match. There's reports that he wants his release,
Yes, I did see those.
and I do want to get your opinion on that because like dude, like I really don't want to see them get rid of him. I hope that they can come to some kind of agreement because I think they got a star on their hands with this guy.
Yeah, I saw some chat in the chat on Twitch about there's there are some questions about when his contract is up because somebody said this guy's in the middle of a deal and he already wants more money or something. And then somebody said, when is his deal actually up? And it seemed like nobody knew. So if it's true and he does want out, I'm assuming maybe he got contacted by someone.
Yeah, I seriously like I hope he stays. I mean, specifically even for this to get us some kind of a payoff to it because now with him breaking the kendo stick and the commentators actually did a good job like because I didn't know why like he was getting so attached to it, and then they did explain that that was a gift given to him by a guy that's mentored him in Tommy Dreamer, and they did a good job of actually explaining that. And at that point it made sense like why they were doing that and why he was like so you know emotional because like you said it's like an inanimate object, but at the same time like because of that being a gift from him from his mentor, it was that significant to him that he could have that reaction like that.
Yep.
And I hope that Cross stays long enough that we do get that payoff from this storyline because I think they have a very good storyline on their hands, and I want to see what happens next with this.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on Killer Cross. The thing that sucks about it, and we don't look at I didn't look at the spoilers, but I know they have a couple shows in the can here. I'm interested to see where this storyline goes, because now
Yes, me too.
it's personal. He, inanimate object aside, it was something that meant something to him. So now it's personal. But from there, oh,
Can I
by the
just
way,
say
and
one
Killer,
thing
I want to
before
say
we
one
move
more
on?
thing too before we move on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Killer Cross, or anybody that knows Killer Cross, if you're listening, get a message to him. Whatever you think, if you got offered by the WWE or an NXT deal, keep in mind, no matter what you think will happen to you in NXT, think the opposite, because that's what's going to happen to you when you hit the main roster. So take it from us. We've been watching WWE now for far too long. So maybe you'll get a good gimmick name like the Killer Warrior, because everything is very... Maybe you'll be the Kabuki Cross. Okay? Stay where you're at. Just stay where you're at and be the big fish in the small pond for a while, because that's what everybody views Impact as. So you know what? They got a killer on their hands in the mid card. It's just a matter of time before he pops and becomes a star. That's what I would do if I were him. But go ahead and say your last on this. Killer Cross versus Edwards.
My final thoughts on this: I really like how they utilize the kendo stick to be part of the downfall of Edwards and what causes him to lose the match. I mean, he gets the thumb to the eye and rolls to the outside, but then he grabs the stick and he's going to use it. He's revving up and ready to go and wants to hit him with it, but the ref pulls it away from him, and then that leaves the opening for Cross to hit that big Saito suplex, and that was pretty much the end game there.
Yep.
There was nothing he could do at that point.
That's called storytelling.
Right.
Rascals are in the back. One of the Rascals, I believe it was Wentz, seemed very paranoid tonight. I don't know what made him so paranoid, but he just thought, he got it in his head that they needed to do some training, like right now. Goes into an 80s style training montage of the Rascals training. Some of it was goofy, some of it was kind of all right, but I did like the fact that they were running up the rocky steps and they didn't make it. They all fell over, and I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, dude, the tumbleweed down the stairs of the Philadelphia Museum of Art, bro, that was friggin' funny as hell. I legitimately snorted and laughed out loud when I saw that. I thought that was really funny. And then I guess they're in like a parking lot and they're pushing the guy in the shopping cart and he swings the chair at him, bro. It was actually really, really entertaining stuff from these guys. And then the kicker at the end, they actually asked the guy if he's okay.
Yeah, to me, it was one of those things where you're watching it and you're like, all right, this is not going to make me laugh. It's not going to make me laugh. And then when I saw the first guy fall over, I started laughing. I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, you and me are in agreement with that, because I looked at this, I'm thinking, oh, this isn't going to be all that great, and then the next thing you know, I'm having a blast with it. And I like in more recent years that they're able to parody that like Rocky training montage. I mean, we even seen it SCU doing on the being the Elite channel, and I get a kick out of how like now it's like parodied so much, and each time I think a lot of like people that parodied it, they still find a way to make it entertaining and funny, even though it's been done to death.
Absolutely. From there, we go to the back. The North are arguing over Rob Van Dam beating Ethan Page, and Josh Alexander said, no, he beat both of us, but we're going to let that go. We're going to concentrate on the tag team titles, and they're arguing back and forth, and Moose comes into the picture and reminds them, hey, if they need some help or a friend or whatever, the tag team titles are there for the taking. Just let him know if there's anything that he could basically do for them. Thoughts on the North and Moose here?
I like that they're, giving us more like explanation of why these three kind of have an alliance. Like you saw it now the last 2 weeks. And I think that's good that they're doing it. They aren't just like randomly thrown together. They're giving them reason to, sort of band together there.
Yeah.
And you don't see that much with WWE, and you really don't. I mean, you're seeing the same like 4 or 5 heels being like stuck together all the time. They don't like form any kind of like legitimate like stable or nothing. They're just thrown together and just goodbye, guy, bad guy bullshit like that you were making fun of like a few weeks ago. And I mean,
Too good
dude,
guy, too
even
bad
with
guy.
this, yeah.
No reason, just too good guy, too bad guy.
Dude, what I thought was cool with this too is, even though they're a tag team, they're arguing a little bit. They're arguing whether or not they're done with RVD. And Moose tells them, hey, the tag team title opportunities are always going to be there, but you only have one chance to be known as the people that took out RVD.
Right.
I thought that was very cool. And then he even says, well, I think even Moose says, you would have been able to take him out, but you didn't have me last week. And
Yep.
now we see like little rumblings, that'll lead towards some kind of clash between those three and RVD, I guess.
Main event time. Big Mike Elgin versus Rich Swann. I must say, Saint, the start of this match, I was very, very concerned. But it didn't last long until I realized what a hell of a match this was. The first negative, I'll just run through and then I'll turn it to you and give me your thoughts.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
The first cringeworthy moment was when that German out of the corner hit and Rich Swann landed on his face, okay, because he kind of over-rotated, and boy, that made me cringe. The second thing that made me really nervous, Swann did 3 dive moves consecutively. And my God, Elgin, please, when you're taking a dive move, you have to take some contact. Make it look real, please, for the love of God, because it was awful. All 3 of them were awful, and it was Mike. But from there, that's the negative. Elgin, at one point, unleashed the strong style for Impact. And, dude, they need this on their roster. And I can't believe I'm going to say this after just killing him for not taking moves. But they need him on their roster, dude, because he brings that style to the show. And it's not there right now. The way he was hitting those clotheslines on Swann and the way the Swann was taking them was awesome. Dude, this match then went quickly into a Philadelphia ROH New Japan tribute match with a bunch of false finishes, a bunch of great moves. Both guys were killing themselves, taking the moves. Dude, this was a shock to me. I did not expect this match to close this show. Very, very strong match, dude. If you disagree, give me your honest opinion. If you agree, give me your honest opinion. But there was a spot towards the end of the match where they were outside. And maybe, I don't know if I heard it wrong, but Michael Elgin is at the divider. And I think the fan said to him, and it was very clear, I think he said, thank you for all you're doing, or thank you for what you're doing, or thank you for all you do. But as soon as he said it, Elgin was selling up against he's climbing, pulling himself back up off the rail. You can hear him say very loudly, awesome. Like he completely broke, and because of what the fan said to him, it made him break, moment, and he went, awesome. Of course the fan ate it up. But, dude, I thought that was a great spot, and it kind of felt like a special thing happening on Impact in Philly in the ECW arena and the whole thing. I thought it was very, very well done. DQ finish. Elgin decided not to listen to Kid Ref. Apparently that's what he's called. And he pushed Kid Ref, and that caused the DQ. But because of the way the match ended, he was buckle bombing Rich Swann into the post outside, building Michael Elgin as a big badass main event heel, and you could check it off the box. They made Mike tonight look like a very, very good threat for Impact.
Yes, they they absolutely did. I mean, I even like the way that the broadcast ended. I mean, dude, like you said, Mac comes in to make the save, and then he's getting the advantage of Elgin. And the next thing you know, Johnny Impact comes in and pulls him down, and then starts the beat down. And then we see the uneasy alliance between Johnny and Elgin teased, and then right like you think something's gonna happen, and the show just ends.
Cliffhanger, bro.
And that, right? Yeah, amazing.
Yep.
And now that actually will give, reason for you to tune in next week to figure out like what the hell happened after they went off the air. That they can even promote that and say later on tonight we'll show you what happened after, as Impact went off the air, and actually build towards it and actually have it be a segment where they'll show that and have it be like an exclusive or something like that. And it's very good that they do that, because I can't even tell you the last time that I've seen a cliffhanger like that in quite a while on a wrestling TV broadcast. That might have been like one of the first times I've seen that in so long, and they did it very, very well.
Did you catch what Johnny said to Mac?
Yeah, he goes, "Welcome to Slamtown, bro," or something like that.
Dude, it's like
that was funny, dude.
He's such a douchebag. Like, it's so funny.
Yes, he is.
Oh, it's so funny. What did you think about the match itself?
Well, quickly, I'll just say something about Impact, and then I'll go on to the match. But I actually think that that's what they're trying to do with Johnny Impact, that he is supposed to very much be like that douchey type of, like, I wouldn't even say a jock, just like athletic bodybuilder, like douchebag guy.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he does such a good job with that, and I swear that even Lucha Underground, even dating back in his WWE run, I thought he did a very good job of doing that. And I think over the last couple of years, he's very much come into his own. He's light years better than he was in WWE, but I even liked him back then, honestly. All right, the match itself, dude. Like you said, dude, I was very surprised with this. There was some very good stuff in this. They had that very athletic sequence right off the bat to kick things off. I mean, you said not long after that, Swan got dumped right on his face. And, dude, like, the first camera angle looked so brutal. Like, oh, man, like, I cringed during that, too, because if if that's a split-second flip difference, he could have broke his neck there. I mean, the second camera angle, when they showed the replay, it didn't look quite as bad, but still, I mean, that's a dangerous bump no matter what, no matter like when you're going to oversell it like that and, purposely try to make it look like you landed on your neck. I mean, I don't know why sometimes these guys take these big risks, but I really admire and appreciate that, and respect the fact that they're willing to take them chances, because, that wasn't even the finish of the match or anything. That was like, 5 minutes into the match.
Yeah, it wasn't even close.
Like that.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I mean, even like Elgin, I mean, I know you kind of gave him a little bit of a flack earlier, but also, we're still pretty much, praising him. That drop kick he did out of that, he drop kicked Swan out of midair, like, or whatever. That was like amazing.
Yeah, that was good.
For somebody hit him, like, the force and everything and the impact behind it, no pun intended, but like the force and impact behind that move from somebody that big, and the way he delivered it, just beautiful.
Yep.
I mean, there's guys that are like half his weight that can't deliver a drop kick that good. I mean, excellent stuff top to bottom. I mean, even to harken back to one point you were saying earlier, like when Elgin started to bring that strong style aspect with them brutal like elbows and then the lariats. Swan did such an amazing job selling this. There was like drool coming out of his mouth and everything. Dude, that was I love that, because he really like made that look like really he made it look really good. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. I mean, he like his eyes were like glassed over. He's kind of like rocking back and forth and like can't keep his balance. And like I said, the drool and everything. I mean, you gotta love it. And then, like you said, that's like not long after that. That's when they start doing all like the big spots and big moves, kicking out two with like the big false finishes over and over. And man, I don't know how else to say it, but it was a very good match. And like I said, I had worries because I didn't know, and I personally didn't think it was going to live up to the main event that they had last week. That big, brouhaha between all them guys. And this here, a very solid 30-minute main event. And kudos to both of them guys, to deliver such a great performance like that. Because I think you and me both said it, and it's weird to say this, but we probably kind of had low expectations going into this, dude.
Oh yeah, yeah. It took me, I think I said week 2 or 3 of me watching Impact I was in, and that was 2 months ago. So where are you at right now?
What do you mean?
As far as your interest level in Impact after last week, you said you liked it. I actually think you gave it a B plus, which I thought was shocking because that's pretty damn good in today's day and age with wrestling. What do you give this?
Dude, this is tough because I'm not even sure like which show I liked better because each show I think gave a little bit something different.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I don't even like this week. I don't even think there was a tag team match this week, was there?
What? I didn't realize that till just now. No,
No, there
no.
wasn't. So I think it's I hate. I mean, I don't know if this is good or bad, but I'm going to give it a B plus also because I think
I think it's
you
fair.
know it. I think it was almost like the contrast to last week's show because there was less tag team. Obviously, they still had like that the North like that segment backstage, and they had the Rascals like their little video, but there was no tag team matches,
Yep.
and we did get that very cool hardcore style match with the Demon Caller match, of course, which I think was probably my favorite moment of the past 2 weeks. But like, dude, like I think what they gave us both weeks was totally different, and I think that's cool that it was fresh both weeks. I there was never a dull moment. I wasn't bored with it at any time, which is more than that can be said for a lot of other wrestling promotions that I've been watching the last couple months.
It's so true. It's so true. I think at this point, I'm an Impact fan, man. I'm really. I mean, there's only so much that I'm willing to pay for my entertainment. Like I have to feel
Right.
like it's justified. But I'm really, after 2 months watching Impact, I'm really, really, really close to downloading that Impact Plus. I mean, and that's a testament to good storytelling and good matches and entertaining commentary and booking and all of it. It really is. Like
Right.
I'm really, really floored with how good this product is. I really am. And if you're not watching Impact and you're just listening, I really, you need to get into it. And don't judge it by 15 minutes. Watch it for a couple weeks. Because I guarantee you, once you start seeing the storylines and how they follow up with them on a week-to-week basis, on a night-to-night basis, you're going to like it. You're really going to like it. They're doing something that is lacking on WWE right now. They just are from top to bottom. There's so much stuff. The character development, the character protection. I mean, it's amazing. Not only do they have characters, but they protect everybody. Each character acts like they would. It's just, you can go on and on with this stuff, but everything we complain about and that we've complained about since we started this channel in January about WWE, Impact is doing the exact opposite. They're getting everything right, in my opinion.
Yes, they absolutely are, and they have such a great attention to detail with like I said, all these little things that me and yourself are bringing up. They really, like I said, they really add to the overall production and the whole entire presentation of what you're watching on your TV screen, and them little details are something that you know could make or break whether a segment is as good as it is or not. And like I said, Dude, I think what you said, I totally agree with. I really wish people would give this more of a chance. I think part of the reason right now that a lot of people don't give it that chance, unfortunately, is because they're basing it on the reputation of, TNA the last few years before they did fully come into Impact when they were on their down years and weren't really having that great stuff. And, a lot of people are always in that mindset, oh, they're going to die within the next year or so. And then obviously, year and year goes by and they're still around. And I'm going to say it right here and right now. I believe that they are better now than they've been in about probably 4 or 5 years. They're honestly, I think they're in a good shape right now. And like I said, I almost would say it's almost a totally different company right now. And I think it's like almost unfair that people are basing whether they're going to watch it or not, like on the past reputations of the TNA and, the Dixie Carter era.
Right, right. Yeah, they did a really good job, I think, rebranding because
Yes, they did.
if it feels different. It does. It feels different. I'm glad that they have the four-sided ring back. There were times where they were flip-flopping with that. Like, it worked in the beginning.
Yes.
But then,
yeah, it did.
Then when it got stale and then they switched it back, it was like, oh, now you're trying to cash in on your, it was just, it felt weird. But now I think they really did a good job. And I'm somebody that used to watch it as TNA, and now I'm back in, and I can see the differences. It has a different feel to it.
Yep, you and I both. I mean, like I said, like I said last week, I legitimately haven't watched this in 6, 7, 8 years. Whenever, not long, probably after the Aces and Eights, and which I mean, you love that storyline so much, but it wouldn't have been probably that long after that I stopped watching it. I mean, I don't know, bro. I'm almost regretting not getting into this sooner, and I really credit and attribute like your reviews over the past weeks into what got me back into it. And I'm almost thankful that you essentially challenged me to give this a try, because now I'm realizing that I've been missing out quite a bit the last couple of weeks. Dude, I got one question for you too, before we get out of here, because you might know this better than me, and I need you to fill me in on this. And we have Slammiversary coming up. They said it's within the next 52 days. What actually, like, in this day and age is considered their their WrestleMania? Is it Slammiversary, or is it like Bound for Glory, or like is it something new? Because I know they used to have like Unbreakable, they had like Sacrifice, Lockdown, Genesis. I mean, did they even do half of them pay-per-views anymore? Like, I really don't know, dude.
I'm not sure. Bound for Glory is their WrestleMania, and I know they still do that. Slammiversary is Slammiversary. I would liken it to SummerSlam in WWE. Like, I think it's the number 2.
Yeah.
The other pay-per-views, though, I'm not sure if they totally rebranded the names or if they still do some of those. I'm not really sure.
All right, see, that's why I figured maybe you might know more, because like them are the pay-per-views that I basically knew and like I guess you could say grew up with. I mean, that's kind of showing my age as far as how long I've been, when I did used to watch, TNA back then, or Impact, whatever you want to say. And like now I look at it and it's like I guess they are kind of totally like rebranding themselves, because Slammiversary and Bound for Glory are still there, but I'm not sure if they still do them other pay-per-views or not. Because I know sure. They just had like I think they had like what was it, like Redemption and then United We Stand. Some of them are definitely totally different.
Yeah, those are definitely new to me anyway. Yeah. Well, I guess as we go, we'll find out. We'll find out soon enough.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where they go with this, because I correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think they do quite as many pay-per-views as they used to anymore, do they?
I don't know. I mean,
yeah, I don't know either.
I'm really not sure. I'm only 2 months into this, so I don't know if they're gonna have one before I almost said SummerSlam, Slammiversary, or not. Now, I know they're doing these specials with these other companies here and there, but I'm not sure if they consider those pay-per-views or, the big shows, I should say. I'm just not sure.
Right.
We're going to have to learn that. But May 17th, 2019, Impact review. The Electric City Saint gives it a B+. And I think that's a fair grade. I'll let you be the grader. I won't grade anything, but I'll agree. B+ is fair for tonight. So until next week, which I guess we'll be back. Will the Electric City Saint be back?
Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely be back. I mean, after this week, I think there's no reason not to, because we said it probably 10 minutes ago. They gave us the cliffhanger. They gave us a reason to want to tune in next week. And hell, I want to know what the fuck happened to Su Yung, bro.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All right. So until next week, this is Soldiers of Shoot.